Now, we take a look at the 2015 outlook for the country's main industries. Korea displayed stable growth last year in terms of outbound shipments and R&D investments, but will Korean companies be able to maintain that momentum this year?
Well, for a preview of 2015, we are now joined by Arirang News trade and industry correspondent Song Ji-san in the studio. Ji-san, thank you for joining us. Why don't you help kick things off by helping us take a step back and look at the big picture?
Well, good evening, guys. Actually, I see that Korean companies fared relatively well given that the global demand has been very slow compared to the previous years, and the economic recovery was pretty slow here at home as well. But the outlook for this year is not as rosy either. Take a look at this forecast by the Trade Ministry for exports by industry. The machineries and semiconductor industries are expected to enjoy growth this year, backed by steady demand from the U.S. And free trade deals struck with a dozen countries in recent years have also given a boost to the auto parts and textile sectors. But handset makers will be faced with tough competition in the global market, especially in China, where cheap local manufacturers like Xiaomi and Huawei are quickly gaining ground on Samsung and LG Electronics. Now, another downside risk is the fact that high-end smartphone market is being saturated, and Apple's new iPhone models, which have bigger screens, are taking the shares of Samsung and LG Electronics.
So speaking of Samsung, tell us more about the country's two biggest companies, Samsung and Hyundai Motors. How are things looking for the two companies this year?
Well, as I just mentioned, Samsung is losing its grip in China. In fact, the company once controlled over a quarter of the market share in China, but is lagging behind Chinese local manufacturers starting last year. Now, Xiaomi topped China's market share at 15%, followed by Samsung Electronics at 13% in the third quarter last year. And as for the auto industry, domestic automakers face tough challenges in and out of the country. Hyundai and Kia Motors' combined market share fell below 70% last year for the first time. And as more and more Korean consumers are turning to European diesel models and SUVs with better fuel efficiency, foreign brands' domestic share is expected to top 15% this year. Now, the automakers face tougher challenge in China, where local manufacturers are expanding their shares backed by government support, and elsewhere on the globe, Hyundai and Kia must compete with Japanese automakers who aggressively price their vehicles, taking advantage of the weakening yen.
And of course, Korean exporters will face similar challenges. They're more or less stuck between a rock and a hard place, as in the countries that are near and dear to us.
Right, the biggest challenge is not far away, but they come from the nearest neighbors around us. Now, if you take a look at the map here, half of Korean export items compete with Japanese products on the international stage, so virtually every single exporter will suffer from the cheap Japanese yen. And on the other hand, Chinese companies are catching up with Korean manufacturers in terms of their technological advances while enjoying their cheap costs. Now, they're up to surpass that of Korean rivals in the shipbuilding and auto sectors. Now, this explains the situation Korea is facing right now, so-called the nutcracker stuck between China and Japan.
So how are the Korean manufacturers bracing themselves to counter these threats?
Well, if we go back, reform has been the keyword for President Park Geun-hye since her inauguration, and that applies in the business field as well. So the industry analysts say the name of the game is choice and focus to counter and overcome these times of crisis.
Companies must give up on sectors that are not performing well and focus their resources and manpower on sectors that are excelling in the market.
So in fact, the overhaul has already started last year. Samsung, for example, sold its petrochemical sectors to Hanwha Group last year, while Hyundai Steel acquired Dongbu Special Steel. Now, these kind of M&As and restructuring will continue and be speed up this year.
So the new year with brand new strategies for the Korean companies. Thank you, Ji-sun, for looking ahead for this year and what to expect.
Thank you.